All right, so this will be a quick video which people tended to like. The request was for some short videos. It was great to see some people for a bit on the online session on Wednesday to answer some of your questions and talk about this. And so I thought I'd put out a video that would cover it for you all. And I hope you also have a happy Thanksgiving. So here, let's start in talking about some of the financial experience that you can get. So what we have here is we have to remember that in a way we're using research for public opinion. Sometimes it's replicating a program that was done before. Sometimes it's creating a new program to meet a need. And so there's always good data for that, but also remember that the budget's income and university impact is usually public, and it can certainly affect our profession and the communities in which our schools are at. So looking at this is just the College of Education budget cuts. This came out actually this week. We're going through some budget cuts, so they are looking at how they can cut money for this year and for next. One of the interesting thing about Nebraska, it's on a 2-year cycle. So this is looking at the 2 years, and this is how it's going to go for a college. But you also can find out information about your department regardless of what college or university you're at, because usually it's public. But this came out this week, as well as this one came out to all the faculty and staff to highlight the impact that our international students have on campus. And certainly you can relate this to Nebraska and other states as well. So at the U.S. Economic Benefit there at the top, we can see that it adds $30 billion. 373,000 jobs are supported by international students just studying within the United States. Nebraska's piece of the pie is $143 million. And then if we look at the district that we're in, we estimate it's $12.5 million and 72 jobs supported. And then here right on this campus and for UNK in the community, we put in $9.9 million and 57 jobs are supported. So you can see that it has a huge impact on your campus and the budgets as well. International students buy everything when they get here. It's a huge impact at the beginning of the year and really throughout the season. So not only do they spend money throughout the year, but even just traveling back and forth from their home countries and buying things that are needed, they can have some great impact. So those are just two examples of how budgets and funding is affected by the campus environment. So looking at this pyramid of funding levels, a lot of us start off at the event level where we have a budget for a single event. And then a little bit bigger might be a program where there might be a series of events. Then it gets up to the department, the division, the university, and then the system. And of course, community colleges and private colleges have different avenues within that in different degrees. But if you think of it as a pyramid, you can get some experience certainly at the top and then work your way through the system as it comes. One, we're not accounting professionals, so when it gets to be of a bigger area, you'll find that either you'll have an office manager or there'll be somebody within the business office that helps you manage and understand those budgets. So when we look at even from a program or event, one of the things I want you to consider is the adding on value. So you might have, this is for some programming that might occur at a hall or on a campus. And so these are some of the events that we might have. We might have an entertainer here on the left. You might have a casino night to raise money for the hall or for a charity. On the bottom we have some community service, and then we also have speakers. So these might be the activities, but how can you add value onto the event or at least save on what you might spend? So on the entertainer area, I bumped it up, and let's talk a minute about for hotel. If you can get a deal on hotel and have it cheaper, that's even a bonus. Sometimes you can also get hotels to donate their rooms, so therefore adding on those values. We jump over to the casino night, something as having the dealers appear in tuxedos. While the event might not have $70 to $90 out for each dealer, sometimes the tuxedo places in town will donate those tuxedos for the event if it's connected to a charity. So you can see if you have 20 or 10 dealers that are in tuxedos, how that would donate and add on to your value anywhere between $700 and $1,000 for that event. So if we come down to the community service, sometimes value just on that event. Business sponsor, it might be as simple as providing hot chocolate on a day that today, like where you'd be out raking leaves, or other services as you provide that community service for the event. Then on speakers, which are quite common on campuses, sometimes you can sponsor those speakers with other departments, so you can share funding to bring in a big name speaker or even a national speaker, which these days start about $3,000 and quickly rise to $5,000 for just an average speaker. If you're thinking about a big speaker, you're probably looking at a budget of about $10,000. So when we think about these are just some small things of not only you having that event or that program, I also want you to think of how can I add on value to that so it can make the program better without actually increasing the budget. And then we also need to realize that our budget and our events also affects public opinion. So I pulled out the LGBT area, which has certainly been in the news a lot, but we realize that our events and our programs really do start to form a public opinion. So the first one is a drag show. I've been on a number of university campuses and helped to sponsor those events. The second one is speakers. So we can see the difference between a drag show being entertaining and a speaker being very educational. And so that can certainly form not only a public event, but it also gives you a justification for your budget. And then these groups also might be a support group, where they can certainly affect budgets along that line because they're providing a service directly to the students, keeping in mind that our gay and lesbian students on campus are at risk for dropping out. And then also some aid awareness that goes with it that has been connected sort of through history, but only here in the United States. In most areas of the world, AIDS awareness is not actually based in the gay and lesbian community, but it is here in the United States, and that's one of the things that we sort of need to watch out, because we need to make sure that having AIDS is not just a gay disease. It shouldn't have that negativity, and yet the other hand, we shouldn't be the only ones that have supported some of those awareness campaigns, and that's why it's been great to have some of the collegiate and athletic supports teams come out and really get behind some of those causes, as well as some other departments and administrations on campus. So there's a lot of ways that they can show support for this venue, for this area, as well as for individuals within this group. One of the things that you also need to realize is sort of what is the impact versus what is the cost. So a lot of times we might have a big speaker come in and pay a lot of money and not a lot of people show up. So not only does it reduce the impact, sometimes it's at a very high cost. So you want to make sure that you have enough interest for an event to balance out the cost, keeping in mind that we're always here to educate the students, that every event can't be just fun and laughs, that we need to think about critical thinking, we need to educate them on various issues, and really have that impact as well, because learning certainly does occur outside of the classroom. But as we start looking at for some of the budgets, sometimes we always just wish for adding on employees, and that's one of the things that a lot of people want. We're overworked, we need another employee. So I wanted to give you some background information on what it really takes to have another employee. First of all, of course, a basic salary. And so that's what a lot of people think of. If we only had that $40,000 more, we could have another employee. What we don't often see is that we have to add on about 50% of their salary for benefits. And those benefits would be retirement, health, university benefits such as retirement, parking, some of the other events or other benefits that we have here on universities. So you have to really be aware of that. Also within that cost, we need to have professional development. And so adding on an employee is not as simple as it needs to be. So if you're thinking about a $40,000 employee, you need to realize you need have about $60,000 to keep that employee. And you don't want to hire somebody just for a year-long basis unless it's for a very specific project. Because when you hire somebody, they're thinking that you'll continue to employ them on within the future. So you have to be very mindful of that. Also realize there's some budgets out there that you can read. Most budgets are in the public record. Sometimes it's hard to find them. Usually the university or college library will help you out. Along with that, you'll see the budgets for university planning. There'll be some salaries. You might have a viewpoint into the expenses or even the facilities on your campus. So those are some of the budgets that you can read about. See how the impact has that when you cut back each year for a number of years, you're cutting out some of the bare bones things, and you need to realize that. But universities have hit some hard economic times, so some universities are looking at going on their 5th year or their 10th year of university budget cuts. So you need to keep that in mind as well. One of the things that I thought, and we've added onto Blackboard, and I'll send out to you, is the economic contributions of University of Kearney. This was a large report that showed the impact on the state and really has it broken down into a lot of different areas. So I thought you might want to look at that as well. And then this is just one of those charts that I pulled out of it. And realizing that this studied 2010 and 2011, and also these numbers are in thousands. So when we look at some of the direct effect and indirect effect, we really are getting up into the millions and sometimes even the billions. Looking at that into that realm. Realize that it has impact, and really what we put into the university. Now this page is just something I just Googled because some of you have expressed interest either during our discussion or in emails that you're not as comfortable with having a budget in Excel. You need to get some training with that. Perhaps there's some professional training on campus that you can join into, or here is just one of the sites that I looked at that popped it up on YouTube that can show you how to basically set one up and how to run a budget. And so some of these skills are what they're looking for. So it's not only reading and managing a budget, sometimes you might have to create that, and there's programs out there to help you. So here's some additional YouTube videos. Again, I just Googled budget in Excel and the YouTube website, and these are some of the videos that popped up that will be there to help you. And that's about it. Thank you for visiting with me. I certainly hope that you have a great day and certainly enjoy Thanksgiving, and take care. Thank you.